Hello, hello. Good evening. Let me go ahead and share this with a few people. Okay. I'll just send out a few invites. Okay. Welcome. Hello. I am Charity, and this is Business Builder Basics. Hey, sis. Hey, Derek. Hey, Terrence. Welcome. So, to any new people that are tuning in this evening, welcome. We're doing the 30-day Boss Up Challenge, and this is day 16. Day 16. The time is really flying, and we've been getting a lot of information out, and there are people coming on board, so I'm really happy about that. We have 163 members on our Facebook group and 29 subscribers on the YouTube page. So I am very pleased with that. And I just want to encourage everybody to please like, the video, share the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's Business Builder Basics. Tell someone that you know. It's free information. It's a group where we're trying to be positive and encourage one another, make connections so that we can get into business with one another. That's what this group is all about. Okay? I want to do my acknowledgements. I always get started with that. There's a gentleman, I don't know him very well, but I had a conversation with him. His name is Terry Alford, and he's a real estate investor and also the owner of 3 Marathon Gas Mini Marts. They're in different states, basically. I think he lives in Ohio, if I'm not mistaken. And today he actually told me he was at the grand opening of another one of his gas stations, which he has in Houston. So I was like, wow, congratulations. This gentleman retired at the age of 48 after working for Ford Motor Company for 30 years. And after he retired, I guess he felt like he still had a lot of life left. And he basically went into business and became a millionaire. So those are the kind of stories that I like to share on here. He is very humble. He likes to speak at engagements that inspire and encourage other people by sharing his story. I also would like to let people know that Maddie Works Media, Clinton Holt, he's the owner of that company. He upgraded his equipment, and so his other equipment, which is still in excellent condition, he's actually selling. If anyone is interested, he's only interested in serious inquiries, people that are really into videography and they're trying to get that kind of equipment. So Maddie Works Media on Facebook. He is Clinton Holt, and I will try to remember to put his information in at the end of the video. And lastly, Lonnie Grant. She's someone that I shouted out before. She has a dance studio, and she also has I think she wrote a book called Beauty After Broken. Please forgive me if I'm incorrect about the title, but I know she has something called Beauty After Broken. And she's actually hosting her first tour stop called the I Am Her Experience in Hyattsville, Maryland, March 30th from 4 to 6 p.m. And it's a women's empowerment movement. I could not find the address for the venue, but her name is Lonnie Grant. Look up Beauty After Broken or the I Am Her Experience. And she's doing really great things. She has like a TV show. She's a very powerful person. Like when I look at her live stream, she has a lot of passion. She's someone who really is a good person to talk with, to be inspired. I know conversations I've had with her in the past, I felt very inspired. I felt like she was very relatable. And you can tell she's a boss because she speaks that language. So, those are the acknowledgements. Now let's do the goal check-in. The goal check-in from last night, you were supposed to think about things that people have said to you or about you that would generally be taken as an insult. You were supposed to think about those kind of comments, and you were supposed to figure out how to put a positive spin on those things so that it doesn't permeate your subconscious and actually make you believe those things about yourself. So, were you able to do that? Were you able to put a positive spin on a lot of the common things, frequent things that you hear that people say about you? And were you able to embrace it as an actual attribute, recognizing that it's something that's actually a good thing for you when you're trying to boss up? Hopefully you were able to. If you had difficulty putting a spin on it, it may be some inner work that you need to do to really improve. It may be that whatever the person is saying may have some validity, and it's really not going to benefit you to that particular characteristic is not going to benefit you in business. But if you were able to, great job. All right. That is the goal check-in. Let's get to the topic. So here's the cliche. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Yes, it is. That is a very true statement. However, knowledge is necessary but not sufficient to be successful in business. Okay, so it's necessary but not sufficient to be successful in business. So let's get started asking some questions. What is the last book that you read? What's the last book that you read? What is the last class, course, or seminar that you attended? What was it and when was it? The last time. When is the last time you watched a documentary? When is the last time you intentionally did something to acquire knowledge? So think about those things and sit on that for a while and hear me out. And so in goal accomplishment, knowledge is very critical, but it's not enough to get the job done. Okay? And this is why knowing better doesn't equal doing better. You know how they say when you know better, you do better? There are some caveats there. Not necessarily. People often know better, but don't do better. So what's going on with that? What's happening there? Well, the most powerful determinant of behavior, in my opinion, is conditioning. Despite what we know, conditioning is what encourages behavior and makes you repeat behavior, not so much knowledge. So let's think about like Pavlov's dogs, the experiment with the dogs where he was able to, teach them how to, like, despite what their instincts were, he was able to condition them in ways that went against what their own instincts even were, as far as salivation and when they think that they're about to get food and they hear a bell and all that kind of thing. And so that was really not about data, knowledge that those dogs were getting. I mean, in a sense, they were taking in information, but it's more from a conditioning standpoint. And so when you get reinforcement, that is what encourages you to actually do things and to continue to do things, not necessarily understanding or having a knowledge about whatever it is we're talking about here. And so modeling and conditioning is how humans learn, not simply collecting data. Okay, not simply just reading books or going to seminars or tuning in with me each evening to get information. It's not, that's not what it's all about. Um, you have to actually, I'm sorry, I'm trying to make sure my daughter is good to go. Do you need something? I'm getting some paper towels for Julian. I mean, getting water okay. And stuff for me and Julian. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry when that happens. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. I try to make sure they're squared away for the evening before I get started so that it won't be any kind of distraction. So we're talking about not just attending seminars, not just going in like to a class or getting a degree or like getting all this information is not enough to make you successful, basically. But it's a very important thing for you to do, but there's more that you have to do. And so knowledge is power. And so power is harnessed by acquiring knowledge and equipping yourself with the tools you need to actually convert that power into energy, basically. Okay? So what is power? Well, power is a source or means of supplying energy. And what is energy? Energy is the vigorous exertion of power or effort. And so this leads to the issue of stamina that we talked about on day one. If you have the stamina for business or not. If you don't have the stamina for business, it doesn't matter what you know. Okay? It really doesn't matter what you know. Think about, there are a lot of people who are know-it-alls and they're broke. There are a lot of people who are like walking encyclopedias, but they don't have a wealth consciousness. You have tons of highly intelligent people that are not thriving. So we know that should be an indication that knowledge is not enough. You also have people that may not have a lot of book smarts, but they're thriving, they're making money, and they're bossing up. So what's really happening here? This is what I want to get into this evening, is trying to help you all understand how you convert the power of knowledge into energy, which is the ability to do work, to get the job done, to do something, to move, to take action. Okay? And I'm a person, I really like analogies, so you might notice I do that fairly often. Let's think about some physics here. Potential energy versus kinetic energy. Stick with me. Don't leave yet. I promise I won't get too deep into it. Potential energy is basically like what I would consider your knowledge. It's not actually energy that's being put out. So if you have like a boulder and you've pushed it uphill and it's up on the hill and it's not moving, it has potential energy. In order for that energy to become kinetic energy, it would have to actually start rolling down the hill. Okay? And so let's think about hydroelectric power and how that works. So potential energy, there's an equation for this. Potential energy equals mass times acceleration of gravity times the height of the stored energy, which in this case is water. Okay? And so you have the way that it becomes kinetic energy is when the water stored is released. So what you have is water, which I'm going to equate to knowledge in this analogy, is stored in a reservoir. The reservoir which is like the container. Like if you look at my glass, like this is a reservoir of water. The reservoir is your mind or your brain, okay? And how much water is in the reservoir is the mass, okay? That's the volume. So this is the amount, this is your brain. The water in here is the knowledge, and the cup is almost full, okay? The height of the reservoir is equated to your level of consciousness. Are you leveled up? Are you a high level thinker or a low level thinker? What is your level of consciousness? The higher up, because remember, the equation is mass times the acceleration of gravity times the height. It gives you the most potential energy, because when you multiply those things, the bigger any of those things are, the bigger the number is going to be. So you can have a lot of height, you can have a lot of volume, okay? And then that's going to show like what your potential energy is. Now, how does that water in this reservoir that's sitting still, how does it basically translate into making electricity for us? Well, you have a funneling down where the water starts to come down and it narrows. It starts to go down from like bigger to how the stem of this glass is narrow. It gets smaller, right? In order for that water, when it starts to fall because of gravity and it has to become more narrow, it has to go faster and have more force to go from being in a bigger space to a smaller space, right? And so when you think about what this funnel part represents, this narrowing down, I look at that as like your level of focus, right? Remember I said before in other videos, you have to really focus to do well in business. You have to focus. So you can't be so broad like the top part of this glass. You have to start to like narrow down what you're going to do so that now that water is coming down more forcefully. Remember that knowledge is your water. The reservoir is your brain. The height of the reservoir is your level of consciousness, okay? And so now the generator, like if you think of the Hoover Dam, you have the generator. When that water gets to the generator, it makes the generator actually move. And I equate the generator to like your body, basically. You actually move. And that generator, it ends up putting the water and moving the water into the shafts and the rotors. I think the shafts and the rotors would be the equivalent of like the tools you need in order to do well in business, you know? So then you have, when the shafts and the rotors are moving, you have a certain type of magnetism involved, which is what works together with everything else to actually generate an electric current. And so that magnetism, I equate that to the laws of attraction. When you are actually, you've gone through this process, you filled your brain with knowledge, you focused, you're moving, you're doing something, and now you're going to attract other people because they see what you're doing. When you attract and you have that magnetism for other people, they're going to come and they're going to work with you, and you're going to generate that current, okay? And so basically, in using this analogy, what I'm trying to tell you is that you need to get as much knowledge as possible. You need to elevate your level of consciousness to the highest heights possible, okay? You need to use the information and narrow your focus so that you make your knowledge more powerful. And then you move your body, you do something, you get active, and you attract support through magnetism. And you create this current that continues to drive the process to you getting to your business and being successful. So basically, that's it. That's it. Knowledge isn't enough. But having a lot of it is great. You know, if you have a lot of knowledge, then you have the potential for a lot more activity and energy that's going to actually be, you know, you're not just harnessing. You do need to harness the energy. And the harnessing of the energy would be the equivalent of reading books, going to seminars, having a mentor, talking to people, Just taking in information and learning. Learning is how you harness your power, because knowledge is power. So how do you harness that? That's the part that a lot of people will do. Some people won't even do that much, but then some people get to that point and then they don't know what to do from there. From there, you have to get focused and you have to do something. And so because I want to practice what I preach, I'll give you an example. My friend, who is, I would say, almost like in my top 5. If she's not top 5, she's definitely 6, 7, or right around like the people that I will talk to the most or spend the most time with or even entertain the most. She had been inviting me to go to this free class. Basically, it's like a half-day class or seminar to talk about how to day trade, because she knows that's something I'm interested in. And when she initially introduced the idea to me, I didn't really get back with her. I kind of said, okay, I'll think about it. And I got to thinking after a few days went by, I'm like, you know what? I've been saying that this is what I want to do. I've been going live every night telling people, you know, they need to get busy, they need to do something. And here I am potentially missing up an opportunity. And I just had a talk about opportunity come knocking. Why would I not make provisions to go to this when there was really no good reason that I couldn't go? I knew that I would have been able to find someone to pick my kids up from the bus stop, but something in me just really wasn't eager to do it. So I had to really force myself to look at that and say, you know what? Call her, let her know you're going so she can RSVP for you. Let her know you're going. Get your butt up in the morning, as much as you don't like to wake up in the morning, because I don't like to wake up early in the morning. I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get up early. I'm going to go all the way to Elkridge, and I'm going to be there half the day. And I'm going to get that information because that it's going to help to fill my cup. And if I'm talking the talk, I have to walk the walk, because there's plenty of people. I'm starting to like look on YouTube now, and I'm wondering like how many other people are doing what I'm doing. And I'm seeing that it's a lot of people actually doing this. And I just want to make sure that I show you actions while I encourage you to take action. And this was a prime example of how I had to take action. I had to actually do something and commit to something. And so the goal for you all this evening is for you to consider at least one thing you're going to do within the next week, within the next 7 days, that you're going to do that's going to expand your knowledge base, that's going to fill your reservoir. One thing that you're going to do, okay? It could be something as simple as you're going to watch at least an hour worth of YouTube videos on a topic that you're interested in regarding business. It could mean you're going to enroll in a class. It could mean that you're going to decide to go and get a degree, and you're going to investigate the application process. It could be that you commit to this Boss Up Challenge. If you haven't done it already, it's not too late. You can always start now, and then when we get to the end, you just go back and you watch all the videos. So that's the goal that I want you all to set. And other than that, let's talk about it. Let's see what you all think. What do you think about today's information? Go back and say hello. Terrence, Derek, Charisha, Daryl, Chanel Young is back and doing very well. Dion, Irvin, Marlon. I see some new people. I've seen Keon in here before. Hannah, she's a regular. Thank you for coming back so much. Thank you very much. Jay, Fran, Herb. Hey, Herb. Appreciate you. Michael, Carter, he's been here before, and Amani, Carletta, Jamal. I feel really good when I start to see a lot of the same people coming back. Jay, Richard. Oh, Miss Baker, hi. I have to do a shout out for Miss Baker. I have to write her name down and make sure I shout her out on one of the shows because she's self-employed and she was very instrumental in helping me to grow my businesses from a marketing standpoint with IT stuff. Derek, he said it was great. Thank you. I was like, you know what? If I start talking about, physics and everything, I'm probably going to have 0 viewers. But what I want to do is just, I love to talk in analogies. I like to compare things and, make it something that you can compare because I find that people sometimes understand things better when you draw an analogy. And so even though that analogy might have been one that most people don't appreciate, I thought it was a perfect representation of what I'm trying to talk about. Hey, Dad. So remember the hydroelectric power analogy. And if you felt like it was not your forte or not up your alley, and you kind of curious about it, but you didn't quite grasp it, feel free to YouTube like hydroelectric power, or you can YouTube, Hoover Dam, how hydroelectric power works. They have like a lot of short videos that explain it, or you can look up kinetic energy and potential energy and get a general understanding of it, because I really feel like the way that works is very similar to how it works for you when you have something in your mind and you want to actually like have it manifest into actually like actions, actually doing something. Let's see. Hannah says, I'm definitely a believer of you are what you eat. You have to take in knowledge and surround yourself with people that will nourish and enrich your life, passion, goals, etc. Absolutely, Hannah. And this is why I'm so grateful to my friend who, she followed up with me probably about 3 or 4 times regarding this thing that I'm going to tomorrow. And if she had not done that, I may not have followed through with it. It may have just either slipped my mind or been in the back of my mind. But when you have strong people that you surround yourself with, it helps you stay on your A game because you're constantly encouraging one another. So do you see how when we had the video where we talked about who are your top 5 people and, you're judged by the company you keep, and we had that discussion. What if I had a friend and she was in my top 5, and instead of her doing this, inviting me to a free seminar about how to day trade, what if she was trying to invite me to the bar or telling me I should come over to her house and we can hit a J and have some wine and talk crap about, men or other people? What if that was my friend and that is the invitation that I received instead of an invitation to go to a seminar about day trading? You see the difference? Because I like turning up. And so if I was surrounded by people that wanted to have a lot of fun all the time, I do have self-discipline, but I would actually want to engage in a lot of that fun behavior. So when you have people around you that are wealth conscious, or they're trying to level up, or they enjoy seeking and acquiring knowledge, it's helpful. It's helpful. I can't now, but it's not in my best interest to do so. You wouldn't be seeing me tonight if that's how I was rolling. Literally, if that's how I was rolling, you wouldn't see me tonight. I would not have even have had the energy, desire, stamina to do a 30-day boss up challenge if I was partaking in those type of activities. It just wouldn't be, that doesn't work for me. And I don't really think it works for many people. Teresa, yeah. Now, Teresa, you had me partying not too long ago, had me out after my curfew. But see, I love the people like my little sister and like my best friends, LeSean and Shawnita. They have been like my best friends since elementary school. And I love them because we've always been able to have that nice balance of turning up, but still being smart and doing progressive things. And I really like people that are able to be like, diverse like that. They're very dimensional. They're not just one thing all the time. And that's really great. I remember even when we were in high school, we partied a lot, but most of us, I know I was in mostly AP classes and still getting my 4.0s and everything, and I would be still going to the ice box and the black hole and doing a bunch of other things every night on school nights, but it was like if you have friends that can do both, that's like the best ever, basically. Take you out of a positive mindset. Yeah. Yeah, look at Teresa with the upside. No, I had a great time, Teresa, except for when we were like dropping it like it's hot and my knees I almost couldn't get back up. I had a great time right up until that point. Then I remember how old I was and that I can't party with my little sister too often. So yes, people, I like this. I really got excited, and that tells you I'm just a nerd, I guess. I really love the analogy about the hydroelectric power. And for those of you that are coming in late, all I said is that knowledge is power, and the way that it works is the way you harness energy, and the way you convert potential energy into kinetic energy, which is actual motion, is looking at like a dam. And you have a reservoir, which is your brain. You have the water, which is the knowledge. And because potential energy is calculated, the equation is mass times acceleration of gravity times height of stored water. So we said your brain was a reservoir, knowledge is the water, the height is your level of consciousness. The higher your level of consciousness, the greater potential energy for when this knowledge comes down, right? And then this stem right here. The stem is how they do that on purpose. They make it much more narrow than what the reservoir is because it forces the water to come down more forcefully. And this stem and this narrowing represents your level of focus. The way you focus. You have all this energy, you have all this knowledge up here, and now you have to kind of focus it. Get real focused to be successful in business. And once it comes down, it lets out into a generator, which is the equivalent of your body, and it moves the shafts and the rotors, which are like the tools you need, and then the magnetism working with the shafts and the rotors creates electric current. And so that magnetism is the attraction, the way you attract other people when they see this process unfolding and they see that you're a wealth of knowledge and now you're actually doing something that's attractive to people. Now you're going to attract supporters and people that can work with you and generate a current that will continue to drive that process for starting your business. Potential energy to kinetic energy. It's not enough to be knowledgeable. You must take action. It's not enough to go, let's say, to MIT, be smart enough to go to MIT and then get there and not actually make moves up there and take action. You acquire all this great knowledge, but what are you actually going to do with it? Okay? And we already talked about there are a lot of smart, broke people walking around. There are a lot of people with PhDs that are applying for minimum wage jobs, and so I think talking about how do we get from knowledge is power, how do we move beyond that, because it's true, knowledge is power, but it is not sufficient to get the job done. If you don't have any knowledge, that's not good either. But if you have all this knowledge and it's just sitting up here, then all that means is you have a lot of potential. And how many of you all have gotten with somebody, whether in business or a personal relationship, and you got with them based on what you felt their potential was? See, as you get older, you start to learn you're not interested in potential. You need to see kinetic energy. You need to see motion, action, something happening. One of my friends, she told me that it seems like some of the most deep people, and she was talking about men, because it was like talking about the dating scene or whatever. She was like, some of these guys out here, they are so woke and so deep, and they don't have a penny to spare. They have no money. They have nothing going on, but they can sit and talk about how woke they are and get all deep and analytical about everything and have nothing going on, have nothing to show for it. Hey, Lorinda and Dice. Y'all know people like that? Folks, it's just like, like Confucius. I mean, they just seem to be dropping jewels of knowledge all the time. But they living with their mama and have no job and fill in the blank. I mean, and it's true, they might be very wise on certain matters, but when it comes to that action, I need to see actions. Action is satisfaction. Talking, that'll get boring after a while. And I feel like if I'm going to be talking to you guys every day for 30 days, I feel like you're going to want to see something from me too. I already have some things to show for what I'm talking about. But if I say that I want more, then I should not be taking like 3 and 4 days to get back to my friend when she invites me to something like that. I should have been like, yeah, as soon as I checked my calendar and saw there was no scheduling conflict, why wasn't the answer simply yes and quickly? You have to get yourself in the habit of doing the things that you don't feel like doing or that you don't want to do. Now, if I go to this thing tomorrow, I may meet somebody or hear some information, and it'd be just enough to give me what I need to start getting on Acorn and making it work. It may be just enough. But if I had not used the discipline to force myself to go and not be lazy and wake up early and make all these excuses. Hey, Terry. Terry's here. I shouted him out earlier. That's the gentleman I told you all about. Very, very proud of him. But had I not been willing to do those things, look at the opportunity I could be missing out on. Now, how can I sit up here and tell you all a few days ago that when opportunity comes knocking at your door, be ready, stay ready? How am I going to tell you all to stay ready and I'm passing up opportunities to go learn about day trading when I say that's what I want to do? So I had no choice. I had to get myself together and I had to commit. And that's where I'll be tomorrow morning. So I'll still be tuning in with you guys tomorrow evening. And whatever I learn from the seminar, I'll be happy to come and share, because one of these evenings before the 30-day challenge is up is going to be us talking about you buying at least one share of stock in a publicly traded company. Remember, that's one of the goals that you all are supposed to get out of this. That's one of the 10 goals. And I was supposed to go over that yesterday, actually. For those that are wondering, well, what's in it for me to sign up for this challenge? It's not even really signing up. You're just committing to the 30-day Boss Up Challenge. It's free. All it means is that you tune in with me each evening for about 20 minutes to hear me tell you about things that you can do to get into business for yourself or to work towards financial freedom. That's what the Boss Up Challenge is. It's free. And there are 10 things that I feel like you should get out of it. and I did find it, so I'm going to share it with you since I do have an audience right now. Let's see, where is it? It's under the day 1 topic, which was stamina. Let's see here. Okay. All right. So it says, if you do the challenge properly, minus any other outlandish circumstances like you get sick or something happens, I'm 99% certain that at the end of this 30-day challenge, you will, 1, be closer to being in business for yourself. 2, you will own at least 1 share of stock in a publicly traded company. 3, you would have built your self-esteem and self-efficacy by accomplishing goals and making it through the challenge. 4, you will develop resilience, learning to bounce back from failures. Remember, every night we set a goal, and you're supposed to try to reach that goal. I know that within 30 days, every goal you set, you may not meet that goal. That's fine. How do you bounce back? When you don't meet the goal, do you disappear? Do I never see you again? Do I never hear from you again? Or do you come back and you say, okay, let me get back on track? That's going to help build resilience. The 5th thing is it's going to improve your executive functioning skills. You all know that's what I study. That's my dissertation, the brain. Okay? And so your frontal lobe is responsible for executive functioning, your ability to strategize, plan, and execute like chess in real life. You have to be able to see things and figure it out. Okay, so that's executive functioning. You're going to improve those skills if you do this challenge correctly. Because when you do certain things in your environment, you can change your brain. It's not like what it used to be where they thought the brain was just, rigid. The brain is plastic. Neuroplasticity is real, and it means you can actually change your brain structure, and your hippocampal volume and all those other things can change based on things that you do or don't do. Okay? 6, you will develop an understanding that the outcome is a process that is not developed overnight. There is no get rich quick scheme here. I hate to break the news to you, but usually to become a millionaire and to become a multimillionaire or to be successful, you have to work hard for quite a while to make it happen. And so a lot of people, when they first heard about what I was doing here, they thought they were interested because they saw the kind of money that could be made. They wanted the outcome, but people don't want the process. So you will, if you do this challenge appropriately, you'll develop a better understanding that the outcome is a process. Number 7, you would have met at least 1 potential business partner in this group. Because if you're coming here and showing up every day, and you see how we have regulars now, we have people that have actually committed to this thing, and they're here every night with me. And if they can't make it when I go live, they go back and they watch the video and they comment or they inbox me or they send me their business plan and they let me know that they're actually committed. When you see those people, you start to recognize their name and you start to see, oh, that might be someone that's interested in my industry or what I want to do. And so if you're doing this thing correctly and you listen to my talk on synergy, remember synergy? It's how when you collaborate with others so that your end product is greater together than what it would have been separately. Synergy. So if you listen to that talk and you really believe that talk, then you will be looking for people in this group and even outside of the group that you can network with. You should have at least 1 person that you have in mind that you might inbox or DM or something, okay? Number 8, you will have improved your household budget. And how is that so? It's because I told you can shop at the thrift store like me. You can look, you were supposed to do your goal. You were supposed to look at your last 2 months of bank statements and look and see how you spend money. Look at the transactions and see if those $10 here, $12 there, $13 there, if it really adds up, because it does. And then if you have your Starbucks coffee habit every day, so you should, if you've done everything correctly, you should have improved your household budget by the time this thing is over. Okay? Number 9, you'll be more focused on business and less focused on foolishness. Plain and simple. If you're here every night talking with me, you're not going to be able to help but to think about business and things that are serious if you're not tuned into love and hip hop, or turning up at the bar, or, those kind of things. Hey, Mom, you made it there safe? Good. That's my mom. She actually, her and my stepdad had to go to Louisville for my grandfather and uncle to help them out. So, more focused on business, less focused on foolishness. Stop chasing that man. Stop chasing them women, spending all that money on dates, Stop hanging out every other night at the bar. Foolishness. There will be a time for that. Trust me, once you've arrived, there will be plenty of time for that. But right now, if you want to build, you're in build mode. There's not a lot of time for fun and games and all of that. It's almost like you fall off the map for a little while and you just hope that your friends and family will forgive you because you've become so self-centered and focused on your business. And number 10, you will be in the habit of putting effort towards your business every day, and you'll be in a position to sustain after this challenge is over. So if you're here tuning in every night or getting caught up on the videos, if you do anything, I think it's 21 days, do anything for 21 days, they say it becomes a habit. Well, I'll do you one better. It's 30 days here. So if you have gotten accustomed to tuning in and listening to me run my mouth for 30 days, then chances are when we're done, and remember, I'm not disappearing. I just won't be going live every night because I'll be back in school. But for now, you will be in the habit of it. And so all of a sudden now, when I disappear, maybe I'm only tuning in twice a week. Hopefully you'll still be thinking, or in the habit of settling down for the evening and thinking about your business and what you're going to do and the steps you're going to take. You will already have been in the habit of spending that time. And then being in a position to sustain it. See, I don't want you to develop a dependency on me. Remember, I don't like to set all of your goals for you. I don't want to tell you exactly what to do, because when you're bossing up, you're an independent thinker. You can have mentors and you can, you can glean information from other people, but you are going to be an independent thinker. Remember, we don't want to be sheep. We don't want to be able to be herded and mustered and drove. All those things we talked about, what was that, just last night? We're going to be the sheepdogs. The ones that know how to muster, the ones that know how to instinctually go around and get individuals to come together and guide them. That's who we are. And so you're not going to be dependent on me to guide you after this challenge, because you will be better. You might need some assistance, but you're going to really be, you have to be an independent thinker. You can't just do what I say do. That's not what this challenge is designed to do. I really don't want that for you all. I really do believe you do not have to be born a boss. I do think some people are born with those qualities, but I also think they can be groomed in people that want it badly enough. You said the McDonald's drive-thru. Are you getting McDonald's this evening? I hope not. Well, that's a slow death if you're eating that. Well, see, I have quite a few viewers right now. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on the potential energy and the kinetic energy and the reservoir and all of that. What are you all thinking? I said hello to all my people that came in. No, oh, you better not. Oh, actually, though, I can't lie. I do like a fillet of fish here and there. I do still like that. Any questions? Any questions about any of the previous videos? Questions about specific things you're working on? So far, I've received one business plan, and that was great. I started looking through it. I'm not done yet. I'll definitely give you that feedback when I'm done. We did the business plan, that was like 5 days. We talked about the business plan for 5 days, so that thing was massive. So if you're to the point where you're looking for investors or you just want to organize your own thoughts, go ahead and start working on developing your business plan. Even if it's an idea you're not sure about, that's even better, because in developing the business plan, it's going to force you to think about a lot of things that you may not have been thinking about, and it'll actually help you to make your own decision about if that's something you want to pursue. So check out the business plan videos, and let's get the Shark Tank in the Hood going. I have to come up with a better name for that. Maybe you all can help me name it, because like I said, I'm not a shark. I'm not on their level, and I also don't like what shark implies. It implies a viciousness to doing business and almost like predatory. But what I want is for people who have ideas, but they may be either lacking capital, expertise, or motivation. They may not have everything they need to really move forward, but they have what they feel like is a great idea. If you're able to compose a business plan and send it to me, I will review it, and I will certainly consider collaborating or forwarding you to someone that I think could be a collaborator, an investor, a partner, collaborator, whatever you want to call it. So, and I'm local here in the DMV area. If you feel like if you want to start a B&B, a child care center, assisted living, those are the things that I feel most comfortable with as far as telling you exactly what you need to do. If you want someone to help you one-on-one to get set up, if I have to serve in that capacity with that amount of time, then we can talk about, some kind of fee for service. But if you just need like a little bit of, bouncing something off me or something like that, and you've been participating in the challenge, then I'm more than willing to answer questions and to, respond if you inbox me. Now, if you have not joined the group, if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, then I'll have to say that I'm not inclined to spend time working with you because you haven't committed to the process here. But if you commit to the process, which is free, all I ask is that you like the videos, share the videos, subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is Business Builder Basics, join the group while it's still free, and that's all you need to do. And I will try to give you as much information as I can about all that I know. Anything that I know, I'm willing to share. But I need you to make the commitment. I need you to go from your potential to movement. Okay, you can still be building up the potential, but there needs to be some kinetic energy popping. I need the kinetic energy. It cannot just be potential anymore. If you've been talking about a business you want to do for 5 and 6 years and you still have not taken the steps to get it going, it's time to get into motion. It's time to really get things going without fear, without further delay, without excuse. It's time. That's what I'm here to tell you. It's time. And that's why I want you tuning in every night, because I want to drill it in your head that it's time for you to go ahead and start working towards your goals and working towards financial freedom. You may not have to quit your job. All I ask is that you consider a side hustle. For those of you all that you feel pretty comfortable because you've had a job for a long time, and you got a 401k and thrift savings plan and all of that. I saw something really that bothered me the other day. I do taxes, and I was looking at this 10, I think it was called a 1099R, or no, that's interest. It's a 1099 something for thrift savings income, basically. And this person got the father, the person died. He was an older person. He died, and he had 3 children. And so he had a thrift savings plan, and the distribution to the children was 33% because it was 3 children. That's put on the form. And the amount that this person got was less than $200. That is all that father made provisions for his 3 children. And I'm not trying to be judgmental, but I do really need to go there. We need to do better. We need to do better. If you die and all you leave your children is $200, less than $200, and they still have to even pay taxes on that, I think that we need to work on doing better. So your retirement plans and the things that you have that are benefiting you in your lifetime, what about your children? What are you doing to help set your children and your children's children and the children's children's children? What are you doing to help set them up so that their life doesn't have to be grueling? Because life is only getting more difficult. Resources are becoming more scarce. So if we get to a point where it's the haves and the have-nots, don't you want your progeny to be the haves? Don't you want your community to be a community of haves? It starts now. So stop living life like only your lifetime matters. Like you're good in your lifetime and that's all that matters. Stop doing that if you have children. It hurt my heart to see that form, that thrift savings plan paying out only $200. So that means if it's 3 children, it was roughly $600 that ended up coming out of that thrift savings plan. What kind of decisions did that man make that had him in that position? To have worked a job that long, what kind of decisions did he make where that happens? I don't know. Okay. I don't see any questions. I see people watching. I don't see any questions. If we don't have any questions or comments, then we can call it a night. How much time does a B&B take up during the day? Oh, well, you can set it up where you don't. Okay, it depends on how you have it set up. Because it's so many options, you can make it where you allow people to book only one room, and you can have a minimum requirement of at least 7 days or maybe 3 days, or you can just have it where they can book just one night, and you can decide what amenities you're going to provide. And so the way I have our setup is the one that requires the most activity. So we have checkout is 11, check-in is 3 p.m. So between 11 and 3 p.m. are the busy physical hours where you're actually like having someone turn over the rooms. As soon as someone checks out, they strip the beds, they start cleaning, yada, yada, get it ready for the check-in. That's the physical part during that part. Now, if you set it up like I have it, people can self-check in. And if you spend enough time setting up your profile and studying how to use the app, you can have like automated messages be sent out where they get the code to the door and the code to their room. And I have like a guest manual in each room that has all of the like frequently asked questions. I have signs posted around for like Wi-Fi information. And so I would say if we've had like maybe 50 guests in the past 2 weeks, I've only actually encountered maybe 4 of them, maybe. I do have someone else that handles it, but you could potentially set it up where you don't ever see your guest. Um, it's not hard work, and it's just steady. And if you don't really want to have to worry about like turning over rooms every single day, you can make it where you only want people who are willing to stay a minimum of like 3 days or 1 week. Problem with that is if you do that, now you're going to miss out on all the money from the people who only wanted 1 or 2 nights. But if you're doing it as a side hustle and you're not trying to maximize, see, I like to maximize. The money that I showed you all a couple of weeks ago, that is a result of me maximizing all of the rooms and accepting people 1 day at a time, basically. And pretty much being, I think we're usually booked, our occupancy rate is at least 50%. So that means half of our inventory is usually always booked, maybe more. So it depends on how you set it up. I think it's some of the easiest money that I've ever made in my life. It's actually, remember I told you about assisted living and the Medicaid waiver and how you could have a person who is total care, bed bound, need to be tube fed, all this stuff, and Medicaid will pay you like $77 a day to feed the people, house the people, provide the care to the people, bathing, feeding, providing their, giving them their medication. $77 a day, right? Well, with my B&B, I could get like $129 for one night for one room if it's like 2 guests and it's like a conference around the corner. Then if it's not a conference and it's not peak season, then I'm getting at least $40 a night. So think about it. And I don't have to have 24/7 staff. I don't have to provide 3 meals a day and 2 snacks. And so when you look at it, the profit margin is so different. It's way less work and it's way more net profit. So I recommend it if you have the kind of situation where you can do it out of your home, or you already own another home and you want to try something different. I highly recommend it because it's some of the easiest money that I've ever made. I told you guys the first 8 days in March, I showed you all the receipts. I showed you that from Airbnb and Booking.com alone, I had already made about $8,000 in the first 8 days of March. And I didn't lift a finger the first 8 days. And when you own the properties, you just feel really great. You feel really great about it because you know that you're getting the money from the service you're providing, and then you also know that your homes are being paid for. And your homes are the quickest and easiest way to become a millionaire because of the value of your homes. You have several properties. You add the value of those up and how much you have left to pay on your mortgages, and that goes towards your net worth. That is how you can become a millionaire, is by owning a lot of property. And if you have businesses running out of them, instead of like just renting to a family and you kind of just break even, if you run a business out of your own property, then you can possibly make a net profit and still have your net worth going up every month, every time that mortgage gets paid. So I definitely like B&B. What I will say is I would not recommend anyone going out of their way to find a property and buy a property with the sole purpose of doing a B&B. That's not what I'm advising. When I brought this up weeks ago, it was me telling people how they could do something quick that could generate some money using the resources they may already have, or if they know they want to live in the home too. But it should not be you're going out and purchasing a property and it's only going to be to do a B&B, because now you run the risk of not making ends meet. Now you run the risk of, if you're not full all the time, you may not get enough to pay your mortgage or pay the people who you're going to have cleaning up the place. The other issue is, what if you have a homeowners association that doesn't really allow that type of use, or you don't get a use and occupancy permit? So it's really just like a low-key way of making some quick capital. I had done it only because I wanted to make sure I had enough money for my son to be able to go to MIT. And then he ended up getting a scholarship and financial aid, or whatever they call it, grants. He got all of that, and I didn't even end up needing to pay much at all. So, but that was the reason why I got into it. And I had no idea it was going to do what it did. I was like, let me just do one room out the basement, since there's like a separate apartment down there, and see how it goes. And when I put that room on the market, it was booked nonstop. So I was like, let's do another room. And that other room was booked nonstop. And let's do another room. And that's how it happened. Then I ended up doing another one of the properties that I had. So it really exceeded my expectation. I really thought that the first success was because of location. That's what I thought. I thought it was because of where the home was located, which is in like a touristy area of the DMV. I thought that was why. But when I did one of the houses I have in Waldorf, that house was staying sold out more than the other home. And it's nothing really touristy down there, and it's not even a luxury home. So that's when I said I need to let people know about this option, because it's not just about having a real big pretty house and being like having your house on a beach, and that's the only way you can do well with it. You can do well with it even if you have an older home that's modest, as long as it's clean. You do a little bit of decorating. I got a lot of my stuff from the thrift store, Walmart, Target, and I turned up on them. I did the simplest of things. I did a lot of refurbishing of furniture. It was so fun. I loved it. By the way, that's another business idea, refurbishing furniture. You go to the thrift store, or you go on Facebook Marketplace and you look at things that are inexpensive or free. If you like, hurry up and pick them up or they're going to be trash, you pick them up. You go to Home Depot, you get your Rust-Oleums and all your little spray paints and different things, and you get your sandpaper, and you just go to work, and you make things look brand new. The process is fun. For me, it was like therapeutic. I had a buddy of mine, she was helping me, and we just had a lot of fun doing it, basically. And I didn't turn around and sell the items. I used them for setting up the homes. But for someone that wants to turn around, you go to the thrift store, you buy a cedar chest for like $20, a real cedar chest. Like I have one that I did. I'll show you guys. A real cedar chest for like $20, and real cedar is like very, so here you go, right there. Can you see that? You see how it's a little sparkly? So this thing was actually like a wood color, and this mirror right here actually was a light wood color too, and it has like a little crack over here. I'm not sure if you can see that, but this was all, yeah, there it is. This is all like refurbished, and it was so fun doing it. And you can turn around and you can sell it. Pay $20 for it, fix it up with a can of $10 spray paint, and sell it for like $150. It's like more than 100% profit, basically. So, you know, those are the kind of things that you can do if you're like crafty and you like that kind of thing. So yeah, setting up the B&Bs, it wasn't very expensive. I really went all out because I really wanted to make it pretty, because when you make it pretty and you do the pictures and people see that, it makes them want to book your place when they see that it looks like it's trendy or that you put a lot of thought into your decor. But you don't really have to do much. Some people don't care, they just need a room. So yes, Airbnb, booking.com, check it out. I was able to get, let's see, Debbie, my mom, 4 people. 4 people I told about it and they acted on it. And out of all 4 people, I know 2 are very pleased with the results they're getting. 1 made the mistake of not taking my advice and not buying a house in Capitol Heights. I did not think that was going to be a good idea. And he's also not, he's not doing like one night at a time. He's requiring people do like maybe 5 nights. And he's charging like a cleaning fee of like $100 or something. So he did a lot of the things I told him he probably shouldn't do. And he's not getting the results that he wants. So I will say this. I can't guarantee that you'll get the results that I get. But if I tell you, or if I caution you against something, you do it anyway, be responsible for your own results when you don't listen. The other person, I think that she liked it. I think that she didn't want to do as much of the work. I think she only wanted a little bit of extra money whenever she wanted it. And that's how you can set it up. You do not have to make all of your rooms available every night. You can only do weekends if you want, or you can just do 1 week out of the year if you want. You can block out whatever days in advance, however many you want. You might only want to do like 1 weekend a month. Whatever your goal is, it's like you have so much flexibility. And you, get a house, but guess what? One of the people that I told you is satisfied with the results they're getting, they're renting a condo. They don't even own the condo. They're renting a condo. It's a 2-bedroom condo with 2 bathrooms, and it's small, but nice. And they're getting people interested in paying decent money, and they're getting 5-star reviews each and every time. So when I stayed in, where was I? Someone was doing it out of an apartment, even not even a condo, but like an apartment. And it was a 1-bedroom apartment, but this person had the nerve to actually turn the living room into like a bedroom. And it was 2 twin beds, and it was a shared room. And they were charging like $60, but they also were like in Arlington, the part that's like near Roslyn, that's kind of pricey. And so I stayed there one night because I was pulling an all-nighter for an exam that I had, and I wanted to be able to wake up in the morning, not hit any traffic, and just walk to campus. But yeah, there was another person in the living room. It's not like he closed it off and had like a door or privacy. It was not fancy. There were no amenities. I mean, it was literally like a pillow, a bed with sheets, and a blanket. And it wasn't pretty. And it wasn't even that clean, actually. I didn't give them a bad review. I didn't leave a review at all. I don't really like leaving bad reviews unless it's something that's just awful, because I don't like to hurt people's businesses. But it was whack. I mean, I think I paid about $60 for that. And it was a high-rise apartment. And what he did was, sometimes when people know you're not allowed to do that, they'll do it anyway, because they know their apartment doesn't allow it or whatever. They'll set it up and it'll be discreet, and it won't really show what your address is. And when people book, they'll say things like, I'll meet you down in the lobby around the corner, or I'll meet you in the front of the building. Whenever they have that in there, you kind of know they're like trying to hide from either their HOA or the people that own the apartment or whatever. You can, so people do it even when they're not allowed to do it. They have ways of being discreet about it. So wherever you are now, you might be ready to do something now. I don't know. But if you, I recommend, if you are going to look for a place, if you're not in a position to buy right now, you can look for a place to rent. And just make sure that, like, let's say if you have a family, if you have children, then make sure you get a place that has like a basement with a separate entrance. And then once you're in the basement, you would have to come up the stairs and go through a door to get to the level that you and your family would be on. What you can do is, instead of a regular interior door, you can replace the interior door, which is usually made of cheap materials, unless you live in a fancy house with solid wood doors. But usually it's that cheap material. You can get an exterior door, like the kind that leads from your garage to the inside of your home. It have like the metal plates and everything on it. You can get one of those and you can replace the interior door with that kind of door. Now it becomes secure, where it's almost like it would be no different. Because I know there are a lot of people, as soon as they heard, oh, I gotta share my house with strangers, they were turned off. But if you really think about it, if you live in a garden style apartment and you have somebody, you have your front door right here and then their front door is right there, that's really no different if you get the right type of doors. Well, someone's in your basement, you know, like if you're in an apartment and you live, there's people living below you and their door is down there, or you live on the ground level and you have like a sliding glass door, you are no more secure than a person who's sharing their home with complete strangers at a B&B. So you really just have to consider how you're thinking about it. You can get your cameras at every entrance of your home, every angle, and then it can give you live footage of whenever something moves. It'll do like a 30-second clip. You can get motion detectors where on the inside of your home, if there's any movement, you'll be alerted. Like, let's say someone happens to come from the downstairs and they make their way into your space, but you know it's after hours and you already set your alarm and you're like, who is this downstairs? Hopefully it's not your teenager being sneaky, but you can do those kind of things basically to add the security feature in there if you have a family or you're like a woman living by yourself and you're kind of scared to give it a shot because you think you're going to encounter crazy people. We haven't encountered any crazy people. So, but you have to stay alert. And if you do have children, you have to make sure your children understand what it is that you're doing. And you go ahead and have that talk with them about the dangers of strangers. You know, just make sure they're alert and that they know to be out of sight and to not make it real known that there are young children in the home, just in case you happen to get like a psychopath stopping through. It's a really good option. It's a really good option because you can, like I said, once you get started, it doesn't take a lot to get started. And you can do it for as long as you want. You can set a goal to raise money to buy a home. And you can do that, or you can set a goal to like have that be your money that you put into the stock market. It's so easy. And when I looked at, because this home my mother had built, and it's like 5,500 square feet. It's a full kitchen, a laundry room, a separate entrance, and three bedrooms down there on that bottom level. There's a middle level that has no bedrooms, but it has like a bunch of just room, like space. Then there's the upstairs where there are like 4 bedrooms and 2 full bathrooms. And we were only using 3 of the bedrooms, and we never used to go in the basement. When I had the idea to do it, our basement was so dusty and ridiculous because we had not stepped foot in the basement. So just think about it. All that space was just going, unutilized, and now it's making like money for real. So people a lot of times have resources that they're not putting to use because they're either not creative, they're not hanging around the right people to give them ideas, or they're stubborn and they don't really want to give it a shot because they have all these reasons why they don't want to make any money. So yeah, if you want to let me know if you want to talk separately, if you want to explain the way your current situation is set up, and I can let you know if it sounds like something you might be able to do. But I think that is a quick way to get started with making some money. I'm not saying that you would, do that for the rest of your life necessarily. I mean, but there are people that actually run bed and breakfasts, like traditional, full-blown bed and breakfasts that are like, they might have a house like on a beach, maybe in like Ocean City or Puerto Rico or whatever, and they might actually really provide all of the traditional kind of things that a bed and breakfast would serve. And sometimes they live there, and they may be retired people like how you see in the movies. I mean, people do it and make good money, and that might be all they do for a living. So that could work too, but I don't do it quite on that level. Okay. Yeah, just let me know. I'll definitely let you know if it looks like it's a viable plan for where you live now and maybe where you can go. Are you still in PG County? I haven't seen you in a really long time. I don't even know if we graduated from the same class, actually. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you close. There's a market down there for it. Like, you can get a house like La Plata. I don't know about La Plata. I think La Plata could still be good. It's further down. But the good thing about like La Plata and Waldorf is you have 301. And you have a lot of truck drivers and people that pass that 301, a lot of commuters or even travelers. So you might get some tourist people as long as you're not like too far off of 301. But the houses that I have in Waldorf is two of them next door to each other, and they're in the Carrington neighborhood right by the mall, the St. Charles Mall. It's a Smallwood Drive, and they're older homes. One of them is assisted living, and one is a B&B. And it stays pretty full. And those rooms, I can get anywhere from like 25 is the absolute lowest I've ever gone. I want to say 25, and then the most I've gotten down there might have been like maybe $60, $69 a night. That would have been like the highest on a good night. In that home, we converted it a long time ago, so it actually has 6 bedrooms. And I used to live in that home, actually. That's the first home that I bought back in 2005. I used to run a home daycare out of it. And then I did like a couple of other things. And now this is the latest thing I'm doing out of that property. We still have quite a few people watching. I don't know if they're really watching or if they just left their phone or they left it on. No one's commenting really, but they're watching. You think it's time to call it quits, or you want to give other people a chance to see if they're going to say anything? You never bought a home? Well, let's make that a goal. Make that a goal. If you don't want to go full-blown buy a home, maybe you're not quite ready for that. I'm not sure what your situation is. You can consider buying land. And if you're in La Plata, you can like go further down, further south on 301. Go much further south, like past Belle Alton and all of that, and see if you can find yourself like some acreage out there and just maybe buy some land. I think you can get a mortgage on land. You want to buy a home? Yeah. Then definitely we can talk about, if you're in a position to do that and what kind of home you should get so that you have some options of businesses you can run out of them if you need to. If you ever were to hit hard times. Okay, anybody else? It's like 6 people watching. Anybody else have any questions or want some one-on-one consultation? Okay, that's it. Derek called it. So everybody who's watching, thank you so much. Please remember to like the page, share the page. Like the video. Share the video. Subscribe to the channel. Whew, it feels like it's a lot to remember every time I say this. Subscribe to the channel. Please, I'm begging, please support me by subscribing. It's free. Okay? Business Builder Basics. I need you guys to boss up for me, work on those goals. And good night.